Welcome everybody to the K&B Music Den. As always, I'm Brad. And you?
I am everyone's friend, Keith.
Absolutely. So today we're here for another interview. Interview.
Interview.
Do you have someone there? I don't have anybody here.
No.
No, review, I meant review. This is what happens
Album
when I
review.
start talking before I'm thinking. But review
Happy.
today. Now, this is a big one. A lot of people
Yeah.
have been talking about this one.
Yes.
Chris Stapleton, his new album, Higher.
Yes.
So this had some buzz going around, a lot of buzz going around. He's a country man in a new era of country where he doesn't fit. Like kind of a square. He's a square in a round world of country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well put.
So I think I lean more towards country than you do in times. I listen to some of the older country. I don't know that you listen to as much. So I'm curious, I know you sat down and you've indulged in this album here.
Yeah.
How have you felt about it so far?
Well, let me address that first. Yeah, you tend to listen to more old school country than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a decent amount in my collection, and I love it when I do listen to it. I feel like I should make more time. But I love Willie Nelson. I love Johnny Cash. Chris Christopherson,
Mm-hmm.
George Jones, and I actually I'm a pretty big fan of the '90s country. Actually,
I knew you were. Yeah,
yeah,
there was a couple that you're a fan of that I didn't know too well. So
yeah,
yeah,
like Garth Brooks, Vince Gill. I mean, Vince Gill, one of the greatest male vocalists in on our planet ever, regardless of what styles you like. Excuse me, but yeah. Well, with Chris Stapleton, going into this, I had a bit of a familiarity. I mean, I couldn't just sing along every word to every song or anything like that, but I was familiar with Traveler
mm-hmm.
debut. I dabbled in some of the From a Room, whatever that those two albums were.
Yeah.
Um, and I kind of missed his, was it Starting Over, the one before this? I kind of had missed that, so I went back and listened to that as we prepared for this. So, and I also wanted to do this album because I'm interested in what he's doing now. Not
Mm-hmm.
only that, but I knew I'd heard that as this album was coming out, there was a decent amount of independent record stores across the country that did like a listening party when it came out.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Which you don't get that a lot anymore.
No.
So it made me realize, like, okay, there's something's going on here. I need to check this out.
Mm-hmm.
But back to your initial question. Generally speaking, I have really been looking forward to doing this review because I want to hear your thoughts. I have been really struggling with this album because I feel like, and I think I just need to get over it because he's got a killer voice. The songs are well written. It's well produced. Everything, it checks off every box that you want it to check off, right? But I hear this guy's voice and I hear him in like a band like an Allman Brothers band type style band,
Mm-hmm.
or like a Three Dog Night, or that growl and that authentic grit to his voice to me is more rock and roll and blues rock and whatever, as opposed to just going right down that straight country lane. And it's almost like you said, the square peg in the round hole. And I struggle with it at times, but then there are other times when I listen, I'm like, this song is great. He sings great. The lyrics are great. Like, it sounds great. It's very well recorded, well produced. But it's almost like, it almost sounds a little too perfect at times. For to fit his voice, if I'm making any sense.
No, it's actually fantastic. I was interested where you were going to come in with this.
Yeah.
I know you have been, like we said, we don't talk about these albums ahead of time. We're going into these, but we will shoot each other texts saying, hey, I really want to do this, or this one I really want to touch on. So it made me wonder where you were coming at. Like, were you blown away by this? But your thoughts are pretty spot on with mine. I mean,
good.
Vocally, he could be on, The Voice. You know what I mean? Like, production, musically, everything on there, like you said, it checks the box of, this works. But when you listen to the album, it's so sterile. There's something so clean about it. Like it's in a hospital setting. You know what I mean? Like, everything is just too put together, too nice. I want to hear him sound like he's in a bar. You know what I mean? I want to hear a glass break in the background.
Exactly.
I want to hear a mistake on the guitar. I want to hear the pedal steel, go too high of an octave. I want to hear this sound like a madman on stage, where this is just so well. Every single note's in its right place. Every single sound is handled beautifully. That vocally, I mean, this guy's, like you said, I think he would fit better in one of those bands. That's not to take away from what he's doing, but it does. It feels chained. He feels chained by the production, if you ask me.
I agree with you. And let us be clear. I'm sure I speak for you on this, and correct me if I'm wrong. Let us be clear. I am in no way getting on the internet here and saying that I think Chris Stapleton is a sellout.
Oh my God!
I'm in no way saying that.
No.
I think he loves country music. I think his heart is in country music. But his voice is maybe not for me. And that's the juxtaposition. That's where I struggle with this. His I went back and listened to his solo album Traveler, and I feel like with this new album it's too perfect for its own good, and I also feel like it wouldn't surprise me at all. Now, I should have done my research. I was going to do this and I didn't. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if, like, this next song was written by Chris and the 7 other people that they brought in. Like, it feels very calculated. I could be wrong. Now, please, in the comments, folks, correct me, because if Chris wrote all these songs on his own, then I slap myself in the face and apologize. Or you're looking it up for me?
I mean, he wrote a lot, but there is a lot of co-writing credits on here.
That doesn't surprise me, and that's what I'm getting at. Now, maybe there's a lot of co-writing credits on his debut, and I just wasn't aware of it. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think he did start more as like a songwriter for other people.
Yeah.
And then, so that makes sense. He would already be friends with them and like kind of already be in that world of, hey, we'll get 4 or 5 great minds in a room, and but yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're having some of the same thoughts as I am, because I'm like, I started to think like, well, what's wrong with me? You're sitting here complaining that an album sounds great and his voice sounds great and the songs are well written, the songs are well produced, the songs are well recorded and engineered. The album has like 14 songs. I mean, some could argue maybe a few, but what would you cut? I mean, they're all really good.
Well, I mean, I think for me, the main thing that I've felt is he is a fantastic country voice, and he blows the shit out of all these bands that are out there now.
Oh, yeah.
Country now, no offense, but I mean, it's 99% garbage. There's a few people that I kind of highlighted here I'll go over to give some props to. Yeah. But I mean, he murders them. I mean, so this is not a video shitting on Chris by any means. I mean, no. This guy is in a world by himself when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you're looking at country and almost that outlaw style country from like that 70s and 60s, the production on it doesn't sound like it's like a 2000s pop group. You know what I mean? It sounds rough. It sounds raggedy. This guy sounds like, it just sounded too clean for me. It was very hard to hold this album physically in my head because it didn't feel like a country album. It felt like a country voice singing on a Justin Timberlake album. I mean, it was just, it's just too clean. And I liked when you mentioned that, because that was the first thought for me is I'm having a hard. Now, there were some amazing tracks on there. I mean, he opens up with What Am I? Fantastic song.
Oh, yeah.
And then Crosswind, track 12, and Weight of Your World. Or no, I'm sorry, The Day I Died, track 11. Those are fantastic. I mean, major shots. But the rest of the album, there was just some forgetful stuff on there.
True. And, you're touching upon something that a lot of people I've been seeing have been maybe had an issue with the new Rolling Stones album, that they weren't thrilled about the production. They said it didn't have that grit. It didn't sound like the Stones. It sounded too perfect. In my opinion, on the Stones album, it worked. I don't know why. It just kind of works for me to hear the guitars, clean and loud and proud. And I think I'm just still marveling at the fact that they're all almost 80 and they put that out. And the songs are so good. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, man, like if you trimmed a couple, 2-3 songs off this thing, and he would go into a studio with his guitar and his voice and record all these songs, kind of like almost like a Ryan Adams Heartbreaker kind of album where it's mostly acoustic, I would go out and buy it on vinyl tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean? I think again, I can't disparage the amazing musicians that I'm sure he had on the album. They've all done way more than I've ever done in my life with music. So who the fuck am I to say? But I tell you what, you're right. It's just I have trouble connecting with him because it's buried. I'm being a little dramatic, but it's buried in perfection. If that makes
you're
sense.
right. Yeah, that's 100% what it is. I mean, this is there's a throwback outlaw country musician, but it feels like he's just covered in beautiful production, and it's too glossy. It's too glossy for something that sounds so, this should be a rough, rugged album. Like I said, it's not a bad album. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. No. I mean, if you listen to this album, it's a good album. You're not going to be sad to listen to it. I just wanted a little bit more, I guess. And by saying more, I guess I wanted a worse production, which is terrible to say. But it would have been nice to hear a little bit more roughness to the mix.
Perfect is boring.
It is.
That's a saying. I was, just as a quick side note, in my younger days, I was in different bands, and I was fortunate enough at one point to record an album with Shelly Yakis, who's one of the most accomplished recording engineers in history. I mean, he did, John Lennon, Tom Petty. He's worked with Bob Seger. I mean, like Van Morrison's Moondance album, he engineered. I mean, like if you go through your record collection, you'll see the name Shelly Yakis all over the place. And it's funny because people are like, oh, they thought it was a girl because it's Shelly. But I was fortunate enough back in 2005, 2006 to record an album with my band at the time, and he was in the studio, and he engineered and helped, co-produce the album. And the reason I mention that is not to say, oh, I'm cool, look what I did. It's to say he's the one who taught me that in the studio. He's the one who told me that to my face. He said, perfect is boring. And I think that kind of sums up what we're trying to say with this whole review. Now, again, if he had like a Southern rock band behind him, he would be a god on earth right now. And he kind of already is in the country world. But isn't it also interesting, Brad? I want to touch on this. Isn't it interesting that with modern country music, the pop country, sometimes called the bro country, the stuff that I absolutely detest for the most part, isn't it interesting that everybody grabs onto that and goes to see the concerts and gets the shirts, and that's fine. Hey, if that's your thing, you're into it, enjoy it. Hey, life's here to be enjoyed. But all these people, they all agree, oh, Chris Stapleton. Oh my God, Chris Stapleton. He's on a whole nother level because he's not going down the bro country road, the pop country road. So even as overproduced or perfect as we feel this album is, it's still light years better than this trash pop country that's out now.
Oh, this smokes anything that's out there right now for the most part. So I mean, that's why I'm saying I'm not shitting on this album. I mean, this smokes 99% of country out there. I wanted to highlight a few other musicians that I do appreciate the older sound still in them. Are you familiar with a man named Sturgill Simpson?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Fantastic. This is another guy who is kind of bringing back the old country sound. Fantastic voice, and his production is unique. It isn't clean, and Then we have Arlo McKinley. You know my love for Arlo McKinley.
Yes,
fantastic songwriter in his own sense. And then Jamie Johnson, who was a singer-songwriter. Who then got in and started releasing some of his albums. He's the closest thing to what's on the radio out of the ones I'm mentioning, but he's also the closest to the Stapleton, where he's got the big, rough, burly voice. And I think he's written it and kept it in a way that it didn't sound overproduced or overpolished, which I think worked for him.
No, I'm glad. Thank you for mentioning those. I'm at least somewhat familiar with all three of them. Okay. I think Jamie Johnson has the beard like Chris too, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah. Yes, he does.
They could call it beard country instead of bro country.
They could.
Which I'll take any day. But now I did notice as I listened to it multiple times, I was like, the vast majority of these songs seem to be very rooted in the romantic, male-female love relationship.
It was,
I was hoping for more diversity, but then I just by chance stumbled upon something online where he has dedicated this album to his wife of many years. So this was a conscious decision to write a lot of songs for her, about them, about love. So I kind of gave it more of a pass when I heard that. and again, for the most part, the songs are really well written. But yeah, now my standout tracks, I know you kind of mentioned them earlier. My South Dakota.
Yeah, that's a good song. Yeah,
that second song is fantastic. The title track, Higher. His vocals, particularly his falsetto, on that song is a whole nother level. And then I think it's the last song, Mountains of My Mind.
Yeah, it is.
That's fantastic. And again, a lot of that song is just him and the guitar.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it grabbed me.
That's more you. So I mean, there we go. We just listed 3 songs different. So anybody who's watching, I mean, you can see there was 6 songs we highlighted on a 14 track album. So, I mean, obviously this is still a good album.
Yeah. So, it makes me wonder, are we being too critical? But it makes me feel better that you got the same thoughts that I did. But yeah, man, I think if he digs deep and does like a Ryan Adams Heartbreaker kind of album where there's a couple upbeat shit kickers on there, but for the most part, it's just him beautifully playing the guitar as he does. It's singing like no one else does right now. I think that's the one that would grab me.
Yeah. I mean, that would definitely he could pull it off easily.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, well, our litmus test, as always, would you buy this on vinyl?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Like I said, if he went, and bands do this sometimes, like Death Cab for Cutie, I know recently did a whole acoustic version of their latest album, Asphalt Meadows. If he did this entire album, all the songs as they are, just him and a guitar, some really good mics set up in front of him, just singing the shit out of these songs, that I probably would go buy.
Oh, that might be that I might go for.
Yeah. Yep. So again, we're 2 guys on the internet. What do we know? But
not a thing.
So go out and support the guy, buy the damn album. What do we know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, disregard everything we just said and have a good night. No, just kidding. But yeah, I mean, will I listen to it again? Yeah. I will. I'll return to this album. Yeah, I will return to this album and his earlier stuff. But I'm real interested to see what he does next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe he'll listen to this. No,
no, he won't.
Yeah,
no, he won't.
But yeah, I just had that feeling like, I don't know. I just, in my mind, I pictured them recording this album and like the old guys in suits from the label coming by and, is there a hit in here? And I don't know. Just it's very, I don't want to say corporate, because then again, I'm not saying it sounds
corporate. But it does sound corporate.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. And again, it's an enjoyable listen. So, but if there's anything inside him that's like, man, this is getting to be like really produced, like I hope he takes control if he feels that way and says, hey, you know what, guys, let's really strip the next one down, and let's get a pedal steel in here and a fiddle, and and a banjo and my guitar and a little bit of harmony here and there, and let's just put a microphone in the middle.
I'm calling for him to ask Shooter Jennings to produce the next album.
Oh wow,
Shooter Jennings would be the perfect producer for that album.
That's a great idea.
From the country world, his father was a great country man. Shooter's a great musician in his own sense, great behind the board. I think you'd put him right in the perfect position.
Dude, that's brilliant.
Yep.
All right, well, let's end this video and call Chris Stapleton's management right away.
There, call Shooter.
Yeah, you make the call. But
yeah.
So yeah, folks. Of course, as we always say, let us know what you think. Are you a big Chris Stapleton fan? Do you think we're being too critical of the production? Do you think, do you love this album for everything that it is and wouldn't want to change a thing? Are you hearing some of the same things we are and kind of agree? Let us know. We would love to hear. We're here to interact and talk about music. Music in today's world, there's so much that just makes you roll your eyes back and makes your head hurt and your heart hurt. But we always have new music coming out that we can talk about and be a community about. Come together on. So I don't know. I guess I'm in a Thanksgiving mood here as I say this, but I'm thankful for you, Brad. I'm thankful for your time with this channel, and I'm thankful for all the great albums we got this year.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah, so it's a great time to be around, man. So like we said, for Brad, as always, I am your friend Keith, and this is the KMB Music Den. Please let us know what you think of Higher by Chris Stapleton. And you know the drill. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video, share it on social media, smash the bell for notifications, And we will see you real soon. Thanks again for your time, Brad.
You got it.
All right, we'll see the folks soon. Take care.